Well, President Trump has decided exactly where he is going to be sending the National Guard troops and potentially the U.S. military. He has announced he is going to be sending people into Memphis, Tennessee. Today, we'll address why. But look at this. This is a list of the most dangerous cities in 2025 rankings. This is the 30 largest U.S. cities. Look right here. It says total crime. Memphis ranks highest. El Paso is the lowest among biggest cities. Look at this right here. Okay? Memphis, Tennessee, right here at number 1. The total crime rate per 100,000 is 9,400.3. The difference from the national rate is plus 343.6%. That is much more dangerous than any other city. Look at Portland, Oregon. This is a city that President Trump threatened just a week or so ago that it was so bad in Portland, they were considering going to Portland, sending the National Guard to Portland. He also said he was going to send the National Guard to Chicago. Chicago has been pushing back against that. Okay, their residents, their city officials, they're pushing back on the Trump administration. So instead of sending the National Guard troops to Chicago, he's going to start with Memphis. But this is why this list is important, okay? And you see right here, this is the list. He's talked about Oregon before, okay? But if he starts with Memphis, then potentially Oregon, Detroit, Michigan, Seattle, Washington, Baltimore, Maryland, Denver, Colorado, okay? Nashville, Tennessee, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Houston, Texas, and even San Antonio. Okay? There's a good chance they go in multiple cities. As of today, this is what we know. Trump is saying that the National Guard troops will deploy in Memphis next. He's going to sidestep Chicago. But I want you to actually hear it from him himself. Look at this right here.
We're going to straighten out the crime in these cities. He said, sir, Memphis would be good because he's on the board of FedEx. He said, when I walk 1 block to my hotel, they won't allow me to do it. They put me in an armored vehicle with bulletproof glass to take me 1 block. He said, it's so terrible. I said, let me ask you a question. So we're going to Memphis. I'm just announcing that now, and we'll straighten that out.
National Guard?
The National Guard and anybody else we need. And by the way, we'll bring in the military, too, if we need.
He says the National Guard and anyone else we need. Oh, by the way, we're going to bring the U.S. military as well, if we need. That is something that some people are concerned with, that bringing the U.S. military to try to subdue crime. And I get it. But at the same time, according to not just the city, but the state as well, crime in the state of Tennessee is just too high. Look at this.
Heavier presence of troopers from Tennessee Highway Patrol on I-55, a sight drivers and Memphians will see more of as Governor Bill Lee announced Wednesday he is sending 50 more state troopers to Shelby County. The governor says he's been working for months with the Trump administration to develop a strategic plan to combat crime in Memphis. Besides more state troopers, sources tells News Channel 3 the National Guard may soon be deployed.
We're going to be announcing another city that we're going to very shortly. We're working it out. The governor of a certain state would love us to be there, and the mayor of a certain city in that same state would love us to be there.
City leaders aren't saying much about the potential deployment, but WRG talked to several business, community, and faith leaders and politicians who admit having recent conversations with Memphis Mayor Paul Young about the National Guard being deployed to Memphis soon. This comes on the heels of Memphis police touting a significant drop in overall crime, the lowest in 25 years.
Okay. So yes, we have seen a drop in crime in Memphis, but according to reports, it's not enough. Okay. Now, I want to read a few things to you, okay, in just a second. But the reason why this is such a big deal is because Memphis reached out. They reached out to the Trump administration. Chicago didn't reach out to the Trump administration. Portland, Oregon didn't reach out to the Trump administration. Okay? Los Angeles did not reach out to the Trump administration. As a result, according to reports, the Trump administration is going to prioritize, for the time being, those cities and states that are willing to work with him and the National Guard or U.S. military in order to make their city safer. But look at this. It says, we're going to fix the city's troubles, just like we did Washington. It says, Trump said he was inspired to prioritize Memphis by Jim Vena, the CEO of Union Pacific Railroad. Vena is a former board member of FedEx, which is headquartered in Memphis, and you heard exactly what he said there. Now, here's the reason why it's also important. Trump said Vena also suggested St. Louis and Chicago as potential cities that Trump should look at. Okay? The president has previously said troops would be deployed to Chicago despite fierce opposition to the idea from the city's mayor and the Illinois governor. President Trump did not explain what legal framework the White House would use to justify deployment of soldiers to another U.S. city, but at this time, many say that he is done waiting. He's done waiting for the cities and the governors to come around, and he wants to make sure the residents feel safe. So again, will you feel safe if the National Guard or the U.S. military is deployed in your city? Let me know down in the comment section below. But here's where things go now. Okay? If the Trump administration, not if, but the Trump administration is going to send National Guard and potentially U.S. military personnel to Memphis. If this helps calm down the crime rate, if this helps make the city safer, this is just another example of what the Trump administration is likely going to do in other cities, which is why I brought you this list. Okay? This is the list as of 2024. It's the cities with the highest crime rate per 100,000 people in 2024. Obviously, it's changed a little bit, but again, this is key. These are 10 cities that should be on high alert that the Trump administration could be deploying the National Guard and U.S. military personnel here in the very near future. So, as we get more information as to what is going on, how we will likely be impacted, what cities could potentially be hit next, I promise I'll fill you in with all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. President Trump just said this morning that yes, they are going into Memphis, but which city is next? Is it yours? Is it your family members? Is it your friends? Well, we'll find out soon enough. But again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.